I'm possessed with my truth, my principles. I've subjectively went inward and spent some time with myself. Gentlemen, what's going on? How do we get to know someone? We spend time with them. You go on a date with that Karen, you spend 10 horrible moments with her and realize this is not the one. You hang out with the coworker for a month or two, you spend some time with him outside of work, and you get to know that this is a compatible companion. I like this guy. We have similar interests. We get to know these people by spending time with them. Yet we won't spend 30 minutes with self, meditating, contemplating on the answers of life, the things that are going to guide us in the direction that we want or that we dislike. And in a world of instant gratification and we want it now, we're always trying to cut corners. So we look for the 1,000 content creators on YouTube to sell us this new idea of how to make it easier. We read the 1,017 Ways to Be a Better Man self-help book, and we're constantly looking for ways to cut away the fat from our lives so we can move more effective. And while I promote looking for men that have experienced similar instances so that we can be more effective, but when we're constantly looking for someone else to give us this big objective picture of how we're supposed to navigate life, we're actually doing ourselves an injustice because life is not objective, it's very subjective. Your life isn't exactly like mine, so my rules for life won't be a one-size-fits-all for everybody. If I tell you how to do something just because it's worked for me, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. And yes, there are these life principles that we can begin to adapt by looking and imitating and emulating other great men that we admire. But when we're constantly looking to find ourselves in the images and eyes and actions of others, we're actually losing ourselves. And that's why I think we see a lot of men lost in today's society, because we want it now. We've been taught this immediate instant gratification. I can read these 10 steps to life, and then my life's going to be immaculate and wonderful, and I will be the man of my dreams. This channel is about personal sovereignty. I want to find that man that is self-possessed. I don't want to be dependent or reliant upon anybody else. I want to find that man within me that marches to his own tune, that sets his own direction, and when adversities and obstacles come, I have the power, the willpower to overcome that because I know who the hell I am. I'm possessed with my truth, my principles. I've subjectively went inward and spent some time with myself. But the world in a social media age where we're constantly bombarded and outside sources are vying for our attention, it's easy to be caught up in the noise of the world instead of that silence within. And I think whatever you want to call it, God, higher consciousness, truth, I like to call it that will to power for supreme good, that man within me, that's our ultimate source. And if we never spend time with that, then how the hell are we going to get to know who we are? We're just becoming these robots that are imitating the noise of the world instead of listening to that great wisdom within. And whatever you want to call it, God, consciousness, again, there is something waiting within you, this power. There's this man within you that's been caged in, and he's waiting, he's roaring to be released. There's a man within you waiting to be released. We all know it, we feel it. That's why we watch these type of content. That's why we're looking for ways to improve, because we know life can be better. We're tired of being that slave. We're tired of being the robot. We're tired of sitting on the sidelines. Men are awakening. Men are starting to march towards something better. We're wanting to find ourselves. But to continually be looking for ourselves in the actions of others, in the words of others, in the lives of others, again, is doing ourselves a huge injustice. If we want to truly begin to find out who we are and to go inward, we're going to have to spend some time with ourselves. How many of us can spend 30 minutes with ourselves, getting to know self? Contemplating in that mind of ours without the noise of the world of who am I? What do I want to be? Where do I want to go? How am I going to do it? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And see, with me, I don't want to spend a lot of time with myself many times because there's these insecurities in there, right? There's these dark little monsters. There's these hidden truths that I don't want the world to recognize, much less myself, so I push them to the side. And maybe they're not yet crippled me so that I can't course through the world, but that is a little thorn in my foot that's starting to be infectious. And if I don't address that, the infection's going to spread. I'm going to start with a limp, then I'm going to be a little more limpy, a little more crippled, then I'm going to have to remove the leg. And I think we all have those hidden things within us that we're not addressing. We want the life hack, so we watch this content creator, we read that book, and we're constantly in search of something new to teach us how we can be a better person instead of actually going inward so that we can cut off the head of the dragon ourselves. Nobody knows you like you. And I don't care what this self-help book teaches you, wherever you go, you're going to be. And so why don't we start making us the most powerful person we can be? And we only can do that by getting to know who the hell we are. And like I said at the beginning of the video, spending time with someone will teach you who they are. It'll teach you their truths. It'll teach you their true character. And a lot of times we don't know our true character. We don't know our true strengths. We don't know our true weaknesses because we won't spend time to get to know that person, to address it. Who the hell am I? And so we do this by, I like meditating. 10 minutes a day, very simple. 10 minutes a day, I clear my head of all the noise, and that inner man within me, again, call it what you want, God, consciousness, inner man, the man of masculinity, will to power, it begins to speak because it wants to. There's this nature within you that wants to rise up. We as man possess it. We want it. It wants us just as much as we want it, but we won't spend time with it to get to know it, to listen to it, so that we know our true power, our true direction. Meditation helps clear the noise from all the bullshit so that I actually get to know who I am and listen to that. Also, I like to write, man, just to let the subconscious just go. Pen and paper, write it out. Write a question, who am I? And it's amazing how after 5-10 minutes of writing, there becomes this more clear answer, and clarity begins to take possession of me instead of that convoluted noise the world would bog me down with. We are men, and we've been lost for too long because we've been listening to the world give us our identity instead of finding our own identity. I want to be able to look in the mirror and say, yes, I'm okay with who I am. I'm not where I want to be, but by God, I'm not where I was. I'm headed in a direction that fits me, that fits my nature. And yes, I love that man. I like that guy. I like what he says, but I'm not 100% emulating because that doesn't work for me. It's not a one-size-fits-all template. Who am I is determined by figuring out my strengths, my weaknesses, my insecurities, my confidence, my skills. And we can only do that by getting to know self. There's no life hack to getting to know who you are. It takes and requires spending time and effort with who I am, to peel back those layers and say, this is my core, this is what I stand for, and then align that with the direction that fits who I am. Love and respect, gentlemen. Quit being lost. Spend time with yourself, and I promise there's a man waiting to rise out and break free from that cage. You guys will hear from me next episode.